Member.
The $1.6 million that the minister speaks of is to support the regional panel system.
Minister.
In part, yes.
Member.
I'm curious as to where in the estimates for this year's budget for the government, the accounting for the $1.6 million is.
Minister.
The dollars are best from the Ministry of Finance's contingency vote, and for more details, it would be best to canvass the Ministry of Finance.
Member.
Where would that money show coming into the budget for the Ministry of Agriculture?
Minister.
Chair, it would be found in Vote 45 for the Ministry of Finance, which is contingencies, bracket all ministries and new programs, and it will show up in public accounts, which get published in July, I believe.
Member.
Thank you. So if it's in contingency vote 45, does this mean that this government's commitment of additional provincial funding is simply a one-time contribution of $1.6 million to the Commission and not a permanent increase? And I'm asking that because we've already canvassed the idea that the cost recovery structure using fees is simply to cover off the cost of processing applications. So I'm curious to know how the Commission will continue on, given that this is possibly just a one-time injection. And given that the Minister continues to mention the $1.6 million in our estimate debates, I think that if I want to canvass $1.6 million and where it's coming from, referring me to the Ministry of Finance doesn't work. The $1.6 million has to come into the Ministry of Agriculture somewhere. So is this a one-time injection, and why would it not continue?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. I've never claimed otherwise. It is a two-year transition dollar amount. It allows the ALC to work on the opportunity for charging fees in a cost recovery manner. However, the consultations have not occurred, and we're not sure where that will take us. But if it becomes an issue, I'm afraid then maybe I'll take all the questions to do with the $1.6 million, and we'll talk about having the Minister of Finance have to answer those questions later.
Member.
Well, I am going to continue with the $1.6 million questioning because every answer that the Minister has given me has included that, even though this $1.6 million is not in the Ministry of Agriculture budget estimates. So that's what the Minister put forward to me. I have stated right from the very beginning of this estimate process that the budget has not changed. So can the Minister please tell me where that will show up in the budget of the Ministry of Agriculture?
Minister.
The Chair, the $1.6 million is not in the base budget for the ALC. It will show up again in public accounts in July as a contingency spend for the Ministry or for the ALC as it goes forward.
Member.
The Ministry of Agriculture estimates process involves looking at the budget for the Ministry of Agriculture for the coming year. Is the budget that is presented by this government for the Ministry of Agriculture a false budget?
Minister.
No.
Member.
Thank you, Minister. So where is the $1.6 million for the Agricultural Land Commission showing up in this budget?
Minister.
So on page 45 of the Blue Book, we have the base budget of $1,974,000 for the ALC. On page 165, under voted appropriations, vote number 45, contingencies, all ministries and new programs, there is an estimation of $300 million to be spent. $975,000 of that $300 million will be to the ALC.
Member.
Thank you. So when we're moving through the estimates and looking at this budget, how can we approve the Ministry of Agriculture budget given that $1.6 million is missing?
Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Just across the member opposite, the $1.6 million is not base funding. It is in other appropriations, and it is in the government's fiscal plan, which will be approved later on this year.
Member.
Does the Agricultural Land Commission fall under the Ministry of Agriculture budget?
Minister.
Yes, vote 14 is Ministry of Operations, vote 15 is Agricultural Land Commission, and I'm also pleased to say vote 45, which is contingencies and new programs, will also include in the coming financial year $975,000 from the Ministry of Finance through to the ALC.
Member.
Well, I'd like to put on the record that I'm going to have a hard time approving this budget, given that $1.6 million missing from the Ministry of Agriculture budget, if the Agricultural Land Commission falls under the Ministry of Agriculture.